I'll say Shabbat Shalom again to the Mishpacha. I'm Rabbi Simon Al-Tafa Cohen, and I have a fantastic testimony for you that you will probably never have heard anywhere in this earth. And this is one of those testimonies that you may want to bring into your life, but it only comes into some people's lives. What happened was that I have a student in America, and I had instructed her to take that stone. Remember, once I gave a lecture on Jacob and the stone, and how he anointed the oil on the stone? Well, that's kind of a little bit of a mystery. You don't get to hear much about that in churches or synagogues. They don't talk about that beyond the fact that Jacob, left his father's-in-law's house and took his, wives and his children and just departed very quickly. That's all you get to hear. You don't get to hear the beginning of the story where he went to that house and he anointed a stone on the way. And then he said, this is the place of the temple and this is the gate of heaven. Now, of course, to most people, that's just a story. They can't really apply it in any personal way to their lives. They don't even know how to apply it. So they just read the Bible and, they happen to read that story in the book of Genesis. They read it and then they put it away. And that's about as much practicality they get out of it. They don't know what the application of that is, but there is an application of that stone. And that's the application that I gave one of my students. And I told her to try not olive oil, but mustard oil for that, just to put it in practice. And because I wanted to see whether the end result will be what I was expecting or not. So she continued to anoint that stone every day with mustard oil and a little red powder that is known as kumkum. So she just, put that little powder on the top of the stone and just continued to anoint it with a little mustard oil every day, a few drops running down on it, and then just left it, cleaned it up and left it to, she may wash it, I guess, under the tap, faucet, as you call it. And then she would just leave that and go her merry way. And then one day, she hadn't put any oil on the stone. It was completely dry. And, she went to bed. She woke up the next day. And lo and behold, she looked and the stone had oil on it. Now, she could not recollect putting any oil on it the night before. Definitely could not recollect, and she said, I definitely did not put oil on it last night. It was dry, and I left it in the plate. So that morning, we're talking about 2-3 days ago now, that morning there was oil on the plate, and the stone had oil on it, and the red kumkum powder was there as well. She's like, how did this happen? She says, what is this oil? And I said, what oil did you put on it? She said, mustard oil. I said, okay, then check the oil. This will be cold pressed, pure olive oil from the heavens. And so she said, I can smell the oil, but I can't tell. It's not like the smell of my olive oil that I have, the pure olive oil I get. I said, yes, because your olive oil that you get is from a supermarket or some factory produces it in some particular modern method. It's not going to be the same what comes from the heaven. The heavenly oil is going to be very pure and hardly contain any smell, and it will be cold pressed one time only. So I said, touch the oil with your finger and taste it. So she touched it and tasted it, and she said, yes, this is olive oil. Definitely cold pressed one times, very pure. I said, that's heavenly oil. She said to me, what does this mean? I said, well, we'll talk about the meaning. She had a pain in her left, I believe it was left knee. And if she's in the room, I don't know if she's in the room now. I think she is. If it was a left knee pain, it was a swelling as well. She said to me, I have a little cartilage issue going on and a swelling. I said, take the oil and anoint yourself with the oil on your head, on your hands, on your ears, on your feet. And so she did the anointing. I said, now take the oil and put it on your leg where your swelling is, and on your knee, which is giving you the pain. And I guess she was sitting down, and she did that. She took a little, with her finger, she placed it on around her swelling and on her knee. And then when she went to get up, her knee popped. She said, I heard a distinct pop sound, and my pain went away. So I said, yes, so it would. So that is the testimony that came from her. I said to her, keep an eye on it. She said, what do I do with the oil? I said, you do nothing with the oil. Let it gather. Let it gather. Don't wipe it. This is very, very important. Oil. Everybody don't get this oil. So keep hold of the oil. If you can save it, if you can scrape it with a knife, scrape off the oil with a knife and put it into a little bottle if you can. More comes, put it into a bottle. Just leave it as it is. So that's a testimony for her. And she's like, what just happened? Well, I told her that you were speaking your affirmations to the stone, if you remember. You were anointing it, and you were giving thanks to Yahweh afterwards. She said, yes, I did do that. So I said, this is a answer to your prayers, that every prayer that you made to the heavens has been heard. And so it shall appear in your world in due course. And I said, that's the answer. The oil is the answer. So she was very excited about it, and I was very excited for her that, wow, this is something that hasn't happened in any of my students to date. But still is a great miracle. Nevertheless, we give thanks to Abba, Yahweh in the heavens for that. And, there are a lot of things in the scriptures that we call holy. Problem is that a lot of the things are not understood particularly well, and so therefore most things are just brushed over because people don't understand them. And today I will hopefully open up a little bit of those scriptures to show you what power they have and what you're able to achieve with those scriptures just by speaking them out. I gave a testimony. I have a testimony too for myself, and my testimony dates back a decade. Now, a decade ago, I was in England. I hadn't come to America yet, and there were at least two scriptures that are made for my morning reading. And I'm not talking about chapters over here. I'm just talking about 2 paragraphs of scriptures that are made as a reference point for my reading in the morning. I used to get up in the morning at 5 a.m. in England. I used to, do my necessary morning cleanup and then read those 2 scriptures. And then I would, get ready, eat my breakfast. My breakfast hardly changed. It was tea and 2 eggs. It's always remained the same. Other than it might be coffee, or mostly it was tea and 2 eggs. And I would just eat my breakfast and then go to work, come back, do the same thing. But I wouldn't repeat those scriptures in the evening. Only in the morning session I did that. In the evening, when I would come back, I would read something else from the Bible. And I continued with that. Now, you see, some of you may get fed up of doing it for 3 months. And you might say, oh, nothing's happening for me. I did that for a decade, and I still do it. I did it for a decade, and I still do it. I haven't stopped. So the only time I find difficulty doing it is when I'm traveling, because I can't carry the huge, big Abrahamic-Faith scrolls with me. So what I did, I found another way. I wrote those scriptures down on a piece of paper, and I would carry the paper with me. So the very least I would read it, and they became part of my affirmations as well, that I would put my affirmations on a piece of paper, and I would read those affirmations. And whilst I was reading the affirmations, I would read those 2 scriptures as well. Religiously. Every day, I would religiously read them. So, what was the result of that? Well, as you know, when I was in England, I had no house in America. I had nothing in America at the time. I was in England. I had my place of residence in England, my car in England. And then God took me to America. God gave me a place to live in America. and God gave me a vehicle to drive that I'm grateful to Him and for providing that. And then after that, I never expected at any point to have to travel to the east and come over here at some point, because I had no such plans. My plan was that that's it. I'm staying in America now. I've left England and this is going to be home. But then after a few years, I had to travel back into the east. And then, that particular scripture that I was reading was talking about a piece of land that God would give me. And then when I came over here, I wanted to buy a piece of land to build a house. And at the time, I remember I didn't have the finance to do it. And I found my brother. That's about 6 months ago, or 5 to 6 months ago. And I found my brother and I said, hey, can you send me, I think it was about, I don't know if it was $4,000 or, 3.5. It was about 3.5. Let's just say $3,000. It was $3,000. I said, can you send me $3,000? I want to place a deposit for a land over here. And so he sent me the $3,000 from England. I placed a deposit and I got my land in this country. And yet, for all these years, I never purchased land over. I could have purchased lands here years ago, donkey's years ago, if I'd wanted to, when I had lots of cash in England, but I didn't purchase it at that point. And until when I came here, then I got the piece of land, meaning that scripture that I was reading for a decade, that suddenly became true in my life, because that spoke about me having a piece of land in a distant country. So I was like, wow, I was reading it not because I want, the funny thing is this, I wasn't reading that scripture to think, oh, I'm going to get a piece of land in the east. I never had that consciousness in my mind. All I was doing it like just to give thanks to God and to say, how good He's been in my life and for all the blessings He's given me. So I was just giving thanks and just reading those scriptures as a thank you, like a gratitude. But that gratitude turned into a piece of land. That scripture became a piece of land for me here. And Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So I wanted to give you that testimony that I only did it, just as gratitude, not thinking that I'm going to buy any piece of land over here, because I didn't know I was going to go to America from England. I thought my life will be in England only. But my life obviously wasn't in England. My sojourn was going to be in America. Then my sojourn was going to be in Pakistan. And then I'm probably going to be between two countries, between America, Pakistan, and maybe even England. Between 3 countries, I'll be between those 3 countries. So that's what happened. So I want to give thanks for that testimony. But I want to tell you, the reason I'm telling you this is don't be hasty and don't give up. Just because something doesn't happen in 1 year, don't give up on it, because it took me a decade to get to the point where I acquired a piece of land. And I didn't even think about it that I was going to get a piece of land over here until recently. So with the same token, I would always encourage you that, don't think to yourself that you can't be millionaires, you can't be billionaires, you can be everything. It is just that you got to put down your affirmation, you got to decide what you want to be, and then you got to believe in that. And the belief, as I explained to you, is not airy-fairy faith statement, that, oh, I have faith, oh, I have belief, like Christians make that statement all the time, and they don't get from A to B. But the faith and the belief is the feeling of how you would feel. How would you feel if you were driving a Mercedes right now? What would be the feeling like? Would you feel ecstatic? Would you feel very happy? Would you like to take your spouse for a drive? Or would you put your mother in there and say, Mom, let me take you for a drive? How is that feeling? So that is the feeling, is what we call faith. That is belief. When you can produce that feeling of seeing whatever, it doesn't have to be Mercedes, it could be it could be another car, it could be a Ford car, it could be some other car. And so when you do that, you produce the belief of how you feel in a car, in a vehicle. And And I'm not talking about smelling the leather because they're saying now that leather smell is cancerous, by the way. Did you hear that on the news? They're saying that the new leather smell in the car is cancerous. You shouldn't smell it. It's bad for you. So this is something that appeared in news recently. And so therefore I would say that not so much the smelling of the leather, but more the feel of being in that car. They just said that. I was laughing. I was like, now they're going to say that the new smell is cancerous. Is from the, I don't know, oxytocin or something, that some material they use in the car that gives off some kind of, I don't know, some kind of chemical reaction. And they're saying that don't smell that too much. So some of you might be happy with your bangers because there's no smell in there. So I was kind of laughing about that. But I wouldn't worry about that too much. But having said that, so a new car, you could have the smell, you could have the feeling of holding the steering. But what's the best thing? I think the best thing is this, that I think the best visualization technique for a new car that I found was that you go to a gas station and you fill gas in your car. That probably be the best and the closest to you having a new car, because you all know how to go to a gas station and how to fill up your gas. In England, we call it filling up with petrol. In America, you call it filling up with gas. So when you have that feeling of going to the gas station and filling it up, whether you put $20 or $30 fuel in there, and then I think that means that is your car. A car parked outside your house may not necessarily be your car. It may be your neighbor's car. So you seeing the car in front of your house doesn't necessarily mean it's your car. It could be maybe next door Dorothy parked it over there. So instead of imagining Dorothy's car is your car, the nearest I felt the imaginative act for this one will be you're going to get a gas, or maybe you go to the Walmart and you park it in the car park, and then you walk down the road to the gates of Walmart. That, of course, you would do that with your car. You wouldn't do that with Dorothy's car. So this is why that's another way. It'd be an idea for you to do the imaginative act. As I said to you, that whatever car you desire, you got to become that car. And the way you do it, you say, I am a Mercedes, or I am a Ford truck, F-110, 120, whatever that truck is. Or you're going to say that you are what's the other famous truck in America that everybody likes, that everybody's driving around. So whatever, if you want to buy a truck, then there's a Ford F-150, and there's the other one, the other company, which is a rival one, which a lot of people like as well. And not the Avalon, the other one, which is, you see it regularly on the roads, it's like there's loads of them around. It's not Japanese, it's American made. Chevy, that's it. It's a Chevy truck. So the Chevy one, there's a Colorado variety, and then there's another one. So there's about 2 or 3 models of the Chevy. So if you're thinking Chevy truck, and then you say, I am a Chevy Colorado, or I'm definitely a Chevy, whatever the model that you set for yourself, or I am definitely a Tesla. So this is how you want to word it in your affirmation. You want to become that. And then when you become that, and then the imaginative act is going to be, you see yourself driving that and going to a gas station and getting gas into it, or, you're driving down to your favorite grocery store, whether that's Walmart or whether that's another grocery store that you go to, like Target, then you see yourself over there in the car park, parking it and coming out of it and locking the door. And so that's your vehicle. That's your imaginative act. It won't take, maybe it's a less than 60 second, maybe it's a 60-second imaginative act. And the word that you write, you write it on your piece of card or on your copy, or you carry a card around with you and you just say, I'm definitely a Chevy truck, or I'm definitely an Avalanche, or I'm definitely a Tesla, or I'm definitely a Ford F-150, if you like that Ford F-150. So that's the way to do that. That's the way you would word your affirmation. because that would be much more effective. And I spoke about, last week I spoke about the fact that you need to personalize it, and you need to make it definite. And the way we make it definite, use the word certain. So instead of just saying, I am perfect health, and then tomorrow you might get ill, just for argument's sake. So it is better to say, I am certainly in continuous perfect health, always. Why? Because you want to be in perfect health all the time. You don't want to be in temporary perfect health and then get some illness. So you can say, I certainly am, or I definitely am in continuous perfect health always. So these are very powerful statements that'll put you in perfect health. Even if you are ill, your body will be working towards curing you. The body will know that your intention, your direction is perfect health continuously, not perfect health temporarily. So it will put you in that mode. Now, I don't know any of my students other than one who doesn't attend the classes. He don't listen to the lectures. He is not even part of the group anymore. He don't show his face, and he's miles away. And he never heard the advice that I gave last year when coronavirus first started. So he was out of touch completely. He's the only one that I know got corona with his wife, and then they had to go through their rigmarole in England. But everybody that took my advice, that got their artemisia, that got their zinc, got their selenium, none of these people that I know even came close to getting corona. COVID-19 was not near them at all. They all have been so far, brilliant. They have survived. They have had no virus issues and no health issues, and Baruch Hashem Yahweh for that, because they followed through with the advice and they stuck fast and they've been okay. Those who didn't follow the advice, and I like I said, I don't know many, I only know one who don't attend. I would probably call him a backslidden student, and he definitely got the virus, and both him and his wife both got the virus. And so this is what happens. Eddie, yes, you're saying that I can say my immediate family has been saved from the virus, including my dad, who does not take it very seriously. Meanwhile, my friends and other extended family have gotten it. Wow. Yeah, that can happen because your dad is in New York, and New York has been hit pretty hard. And did you hear the comments from the Governor Cuomo? I was a little bit funny. When was the last time you got hugged? Really, really hugged. So, that's another word to add to your vocabulary now. Kind of different words mean different things. So it's kind of funny that when I was hearing that the word, when was the last time you got hugged? And I mean really, really hugged. So, Governor Cuomo really has a way to say it. that guy is a piece of work, I tell you. I was just laughing how he worded it. So it's really funny, how people word their language and with sexual connotations. So nevertheless, apparently they stripped him of the coronavirus powers, so he no longer has power to. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means that he doesn't get the funding or something else. I really don't know what stripping of him that power means. But whatever it means, he does no longer have the authority to get vaccines at demand or whatever else he can get. Or whether it means it's a pile of money that he can get and he can't get it now. He's been stripped. And of course, there was a lot of talk about him to resign, and I think he hasn't resigned yet, but that may be the next call of action. So having said that, so we get this kind of funny kind of news sometimes that this is happening. But in my case, as I was telling you, I wanted to talk about some of Jesus's words, some of Yeshua's word, which I'll come to afterwards. So that now we have quite a few members in the class, and we are, on course. What I would like you all to do, those of you who attended at 9, or 10 o'clock Eastern time, though you just came in, please wash your hands with some salt. Take a little bit salt, put it in the palm of your hands and go and wash your hands and come back, because we're about to begin an initiation session for abundance, for 10xing your income and healing for your families. So I'm about to initiate that. I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes to go and attend the bathroom or wherever you put your salt in your sink and wash your hands and come back and sit down. You can listen to this lying down with your palms facing up. You can sit down and face your palms up. Then I will instruct you what you need to do. Close your eyes and sit down and palms up, and then we're ready to go. So I'll give you about 2 minutes. It's, my clock says it's 10:08 in the New York. I'll give you till 10:10. 10:10 is a very powerful number. I told you to put it on your left arm because these are attributes of Yahweh and part of the Israelite magical numbers. So abundance time is here, and what I will do, for those of you not sure, I will invoke the Archangel Raphael, and then I will initiate. The Archangel Raphael is the angel of abundance, wealth, and he is also the angel for healing. So I will invoke him, and then I will run the scenario over here where everybody that is listening today and even after today on recording, anybody that follows through with this exercise, you will have the ability to 10x your income. Now, whatever that income is, I don't know what your income is, most of you, but whatever your income is, some of you will be hitting $1 million bracket, that's for sure. And some of you may only be, hitting the 100,000 bracket, but you all have the ability to do that. You all absolutely have the ability to hit those brackets of income. Once I do this, it'll be very powerful for you to get active and start to see changes in your life. Things will start to happen. Doors will start to open. Then it's up to you whether you walk in that door or whether you shy up and close that door. It's really up to you at that point. How you utilize that door. What I'm about to initiate has never been done before at Forever Israel, at Abrahamic-Faith.com or .co.uk or .info. We've never done this before, simply because there are certain things that I as a Kohen don't do publicly. Simply because I don't feel that some people are serious, some people think it's a joke, and they don't take it seriously. But today I felt that, for the sake of humanity and for the sake of Israelite brothers and sisters, those that are supposed to be the light to the nations, you need to have this information so that you can be a light to the nations for the greater good. So this will be the first one of our initiation ceremonies. I will do another ceremony next month on the Passover, which is a solar Passover on April 3, which I checked on the date was a Saturday. So I thought, wow, that's great. Saturday is perfect for me to initiate this ceremony and be able to bestow something upon you on that day as well. So those of you, if you want to go to the bathroom, wash your hands. I'm just waiting for you to all kind of go and do that. We are kind of, we're at 10:11. I'll maybe give you another minute. And then I'm going to kick start it. I want you to either lie down or I want you to, sit up. Make sure that you don't cross your legs. Place your legs, sitting on a chair, connecting to the ground, or you lie down, or you're on a couch or something like that. So we will follow this through. We've done enough talking. I think it's time to start doing the action as well, so that you may benefit from the blessings too. So I'm going to kick start it. I certainly hope you're all ready. Anybody, if they're not ready, let me know. If you're not ready, and should I wait another minute or should I go? We're at 10:12. So we're at the number 12, the 12 tribes of Israel. I think we'll kick start it. I'm going to kick start it. Everyone get comfortable and be seated or lie down with your palms facing up. Make sure that before you do this, you have washed your hands with salt, a little salt in your palms. You wash it, and then if you have returned and you sit down, either you sit down with your legs on the floor, or you lie down with your palms facing up. We're now going to start the 10x blessing to bless your income 10x and for healing and for protection. So we'll start. Relax, relax, and close your eyes. Breathe in and breathe out and relax. Nothing to fear. Everything's going to work out great for you. There's nothing to fear about this. I'm going to call the angel Raphael. Raphael, Raphael, Raphael. Present yourselves over here to me. Toda Rabbi, for coming, for presenting yourself. Raphael, present yourself so I know that you're here, swinging the pendulum, that I know you're present. Raphael, I bring all these people to you because you are the archangel, the angel whose going forth are for ancient days, who has great stories, has done great marvelous works. You were one of the angels that met our father Abraham, and you bestowed upon him wealth, courage, healing. So I come to you, Raphael, and I ask you with this family that sits here and listens to you, because you are the angel of abundance, you are the angel of healing, and you're also the angel of protection as well. So I call upon you for these people of Israel, these people who have been commissioned by the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, to be a light to the nations. Many of these people today, they suffer from illnesses, they suffer from lack, they suffer from despondency because of various issues. So Raphael, I ask you today to bring these people's income to 10x, whatever their income is, to 10x it, for the greater good of the family members, and subsequently the greater good of the whole humanity in the universe, in this world, so that many may benefit as a result of this magnificent increases in their wealth, that these people here today that are receiving this will comply with the Torah of tithing, tzedakah, which has been commanded our people to give it. And they sit here with open palms, they're willing to receive this energy, this power that you're going to bestow upon them, Raphael. They receive it. This will tremendously benefit their family life. This will benefit their lifestyle, their family life, and they will be able to do the greater good. So I ask you today to bestow your abundant wealth, blessing upon these people, that they may never lack. They may have food forever and ever. And I also ask you for the healing of these people here that are suffering various illnesses due to whatever reason, that you may heal them from head to toe, that they may have healthy and whole lives. And the people to receive the 10x blessing from Raphael, to receive it, I put you in another dimension in which you are receiving this wealth, these blessings, this healing, that you're never going to look back and wonder how to pay the next bill. You will have the money to pay all your bills, and you will have money left over to do other things. But you are to set forth a promise over here of fulfilling your obligations to the Torah that the God of Abraham has given us, to be in compliance with it, to send your tithes and your zadakah to the Kohen in the gate. That would be myself. So Raphael, as you know, Raphael, you know my family lineage. We have talked about this before. You know that I'm the son of Aaron. I'm directly related to the prophet Moses. Raphael, I ask you in authority that is placed upon me by the God of Israel, subsequently by my forefathers, that you bless these people, 10x their income for the greater good of their families, for the greater good of humanity. They receive it. They receive this blessing. And I thank you that you are able to listen to our needs, and that you have presented yourself here. You have come over here to help us and to deliver the necessary. So I ask you to do this. And I also petition to you for healing of all the afflicted over here, all the ill, for their healing to come, healing to be given to them from head to toe, for their illnesses to be removed, so they may live fruitful and happy lives. And thirdly, I ask for protection. I ask for healing and protection, protection from enemies, protection from danger, protection from uncertainty, that you will provide the protection as well. And I thank you, Raphael, that you have presented yourself today to listen to our needs and to go carry them out. So I bestow upon you all these things to 10x their income for the greater good of humanity, for the love of Elohim, and for everything else. I ask you to do this, and at the end I say the following prayer before I close in part. Avon the Vishmea Mitzkadash Shemach Tete Malchutach Neheve Soviana Ekena Vishmea Apabar'a Havlan Lachma Sunkanan Yomana Vashavo Lan Chobain Ekena Abchanan Shwagan Chayofain Ula Talen Blisiona Ella Pasun Minvisha Matul Delahi Malkuta Khaila Tish Putukhta La Alam Almin Amin Avinu Shabshamayim Yitkudoshimcha Tawa Malkutecha Yoser Sonecha Ka Asher Be'eretz Veshamayim Tanlan Hayom Lachem Puchenu Ushlach Lanu At Ashmatenu Ka Asher Shalach Manachnu La Asher Ashmulanu Ve'el Tevenu Lidem Masakim Harsalenu Min Hara Kilecha HaMemloha Ve'Hagivra Ve'Hatifret Le'olamin Amin Ve Amin. Blessed are you as you come and go in peace. I have invited you here to do this task. I thank you for 10xing their income for the greater good of their families and the greater good of humanity. As you come in peace, Raphael, that you may go in peace. Toda Rabba, Toda Rabba, Toda Rabba. Amen, ve Amen. Okay, so we are done with this. When I do this, I swung my pendulum and I wait for my pendulum to swing, and when the angel presents himself, then this pendulum swings by itself. I don't have to swing it. It swings by itself, and it continues to swing while the angel is present doing his task. And as the angel has come and done his task, give him thanks. And as he comes in peace, he goes in peace. Toda Rabbi, that we've done this today for the people present. Now, all of you will have different experiences. Some of you may feel heat in some part of your body. Some of you may feel tingling. So all of you are going to have different experiences from this. And some of you may feel nothing, but you'll definitely feel something. And you will start to see the change that will start to occur in your life. Olivia is saying that I started to feel heat in my hands. And Haudu Adonai Ki Tov, I am a woman of the 10, absolutely. And Toda Rabbi, Madasa. And Tara saying she felt heat in her hands as well. Yes, you will feel heat in your hands, or you might feel tingling in some part of your body, which means that the angel is working in each individual person. Doesn't matter where you sit. God's presence would be there, and through that God's presence is through the angel that he works his magic. And then you will start to see the changes. You will start to see not only heat, but some of you today who are ill, you will start to see healing in your body. And so what we will do is on Passover, I will invoke another blessing on April 3rd. So mark that date in your diary. So I will be invoking that come April 3rd. And so we'll follow that through. Now, I have recorded this session today that I did. So if you wish to repeat it, and if you wish to get it for one of your relatives, family members who you feel may need it, Chadasha is saying that she felt heat in her head, left and right arms. So you can take this session. I can give it to you in email, and you can take this session. I'll just cut that part of the recording that we spoke when the angel was present, and then you can take that and re-listen to it, or you can give it to a family member. And it will be a tremendous blessing for you, because this technique or this invocation has been tested as well. I have tested this in the past. Whatever question I have asked this angel, he has answered truthfully, and it has come to pass. So I know what I'm doing with this angel. This angel graciously came for us, and I'm grateful that we're able to do this. Now, coming back to the remainder of the lecture, today's Parsha, as you know, would be, I think it's Parsha's Kitisa. And in this Parsha, it talks about the half shekel. Yes, James, I'll send it to you. So it talks about the half a shekel. It also talks about other things in the Parsha. But more importantly, some of you don't know, during the Purim time, you give half a shekel, which I did discuss last week, was about $6 and few cents, which is just a rudimentary offering that you give to the Kohanim in the gate in order to receive your blessing. So it's not like you have to give $6,000. It's only $6 something, just to as a point of reference for anybody who is part of Israel, they give that. And so I wanted to speak about the words of Jesus as well here. Let me go back and open the Parsha. I'm telling you, this is fantastic. What I just did is it's tremendous. I did it for a Muslim family, and I will declare to you the results in near course. Because for them, I had to modify it. I had to modify it to do it in their language, and I had to incorporate some Arabic into it so they could understand what I was talking about. But still, nevertheless, the rest of the prayers were the same. The rest of the invocation was exactly the same as you received. So Chitisa is where Moses talks about the half a shekel. After that, God comes to Moses and tells Moses that Bezalel, who is the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehudah. By the way, if you didn't know, this was Moses' brother as well, from another mother. See, Torah doesn't spell that out for you, but I will. So he was, brought forth to do the design of the articles that God had asked Moses to make, and so this person was the one who was doing it. Now, we know that this happened when Moses left Mount Sinai, and then after that, not so long after that, I think it was verse 32, where Moses delayed coming down, and Israel got a little, upset and apprehensive, and this is where the golden calf was made, if you remember, and that sin that Israel committed happened over here. So I wanted to speak about some things about Jesus' words, and I did speak last week, and I said that, Jesus said in John 10:34, is it not written in your Torah, in your law, I said that ye are gods. See, from here, a lot of people make the claim that, okay, Simcha, I'll send it to you as well. And Juliet is saying that her migraine is gone, that she had. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Juliet. So, I will also say this, that people take this to the extreme, to the point where people say, we are gods, and I would discourage from that, because when we say we are gods, it's only accurate to the stage where you take the words Elohim in the Hebrew and you apply it as a leader, as a prince, as a leader, as somebody who's part of a community or part of a headship of something. We're not gods per se. We're not the operant power. As I said last week, we are not the operant power. It is through us that we are the vessel that God operates. And the problem is that the word God is so, commonly used in our cultures that is partially lost its meaning, because, God can be applied to a human being only as a judge. So the word Elohim can apply to angels, judges, leaders, princes. So in that context, yes. But then you see, people don't read their Bibles correctly. They only read half the story and forget the other half. When Psalms 82:6 says, I have said ye are gods, or ye are Elohim, and all of you are children of the Most High, it also tells you in the next verse, but you shall die like men and fall like one of the rulers. See what it says? Fall like one of the rulers. Means that you are not technically the divine. You're just a human being. You still die. So that's the part that people forget. And so you need to remember that you're not Elohim per se. You're Elohim only in the earthly sense, where that you might be a leader, you might be a senator, maybe you're the president of the United States. Then yes, you're a god per se in that technical sense. But just like any other man, you will die. Means that you're not the divine. So a lot of teachers out there are pushing this, fake theology and false theology that you're all gods when you're not. So that is just trying to make you feel good. It's not really a good feeling to know that, well, if you're God, I only ask one question. If you're God, why are you getting coronavirus? What happened to God getting coronavirus? Then, God needs a vaccine as well now because he's got coronavirus. So, that just kind of takes the cake, right? So first you're a God and you got coronavirus, COVID-19. Now you're going to take a vaccine to cure yourself. Well, you definitely can't be God then. So my point is that the words are being stretched by, law of attraction teachers and gurus, and they're very, very wrong worded. And it's not words that we should use. If you could only call yourself an Elohim if you are a judge, if you're a prince. Maybe, if you're in politics, you're a senator, maybe, yeah, you probably are an Elohim of some type. because you can make, laws and regulations. So in that sense, yes, but you're still human being. You're still not divine. But the divine works through you. That's a major difference that we got to understand. The Hebrew says, Ani amarti Elohim atem uvne. I have said you are, it says Elyon, kulchem. I have said you are divine being, or I've said you are Elohim, and all of you are sons of the Most High. So then it goes on to say, he puts the foot in it by saying, Achem ke Adam, te mutun, uche achad, hasarim te polu. Nevertheless, you shall die like men, or die like Adam, and fall like any prince. So, that takes the cake over there, and that smashes through any theory that you are the divine. But you see, these are the things that people need to be careful about when they say these things. Now, I wanted to, before I finish my part, I wanted to say one thing, and I don't know if I started my recording. Did I start my recording? And I did start my recording. That's great. Yeah. So I wanted to say one part that I took the liberty to send an email to some people about the text in Deuteronomy 28. Now I'm going to open that text and I'm going to tell you how it's to be applied. The problem is this, that you read your Bibles like a robot. You just read the words that are there like a robot, but you don't know the application is to you. So you're not supposed to read it like a robot. So if the Bible says you, not you as in you, I'll have to give you an example in that. Let me find an example, appropriate example where I can illustrate the point. Let's say that the Bible says, let me find a scripture that's suitable. Let's see, where are we? Yeah, let's take an example of scripture where it says the Torah of Yahweh is complete, converting the soul. Okay, it says the soul in the Psalm. The Torah of Yahweh is complete, converting the soul. Well, you should append that word with my soul. See, this is what you're supposed to do in your reading. But if you're going to read it like a robot and say converting the soul, well, whose soul is it converting? Is it your soul? Is it your neighbor's soul? Is it Fred down the road? Is it, Jane on that tree top? Or Tarzan in the jungle? Whose soul is it converting? So you got to personalize it. This is something the churches did not teach you, and the rabbis did not teach you, that you're supposed to personalize that. The Torah of Yahweh is complete, converting my soul. The testimony of Yahweh is trustworthy. And it says, making wise the simple. No, making me wise. So you're supposed to append, and when you take those scriptures out of the Bible, because you don't have to cross the Bible words out and, make a scribble over there, you can write them out on a piece of paper and turn the pronouns or the adjectives to you. And this is how you're supposed to do it. So when it says, blessed shall you be in the city, in Deuteronomy 28, and blessed shall you be in the field, you're supposed to say this, blessed shall I be in the city, and blessed shall I be in the field. Blessed shall I be in the fruit of my body, and the fruit of my ground, and the fruit of my cattle, the calves of my herds, and the flocks of my sheep. Blessed shall be my basket and my store. Blessed shall I be when I come in, and blessed shall I be when I go out. And then it says, Yahweh shall cause my enemies that rise up against me to be struck down before me. They shall come out against me one way and flee before me 7 ways. Yahweh shall command the blessing upon me, M-E, in my storehouses, and in all that I, capital I, set my hand to, he shall bless me again in the land which Yahweh my power has placed me. Not the land he will give you. You see, the Bible says, Torah says the land he will give you. Well, you're already in the land. You already received that land and got kicked out of it. And now you're in the land of America. So what is the land he placed you in? So you change it to the land that he placed me, which is America for many of you. Maybe England for some of you. Maybe France for others. That is the land where Yahweh has placed you today. That is the land he's going to bless you in today. And Yahweh shall establish me as a holy people to himself, as he has sworn to me. And all people of the world shall see that I am called by the name of Yahweh, and they shall be afraid of me. And Yahweh shall make me the plenteous in goods, in the fruit of my body, in the fruit of my cattle, in the fruit of my ground, and the land which Yahweh has placed me. Again, in the land which Yahweh has placed me. So all of those pronouns, those things need to be applied to you directly. They need to be changed from the you, from the to I, to me. That is a technique. That's a secret that nobody ever taught you, and you're listening to this from me for the very first time that I'm teaching you this. This is how it's supposed to be done. This is how you're supposed to do it. I shall be a lender to many nations. I shall not borrow. I shall be a lender to many nations. What does that mean? That means you got to be very rich to be a lender to nations. How are you going to lend to a nation if you only got $10 in your account? Think about it. I mean, how are you going to lend to nations if all you have is $100 in the bank? Is Argentina going to come for a loan from you? Are the people in Brazil going to come and say, please help us? Maybe we need $10 billion. Can you give us a loan? Well, if you only got $200 in the bank, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be a lender. You're probably looking to borrow another loan from the bank. So this is because your scripture reading is being totally wrong, how you read your scriptures. You need to now start reading your scriptures correctly. You now need to start taking those verses off and personalizing them and reading them religiously so that you become the lender. You become not the borrower, but the lender, because you will be lending to nations. In order to lend to a nation, you must have millions and billions of dollars. Let's face it. Are you going to lend to nation if you got $200 in the bank? Or will you be looking to get a next loan for your auto car? Think about it. Just think about it. You need to think about these things. These are not just words that God put there for, because they look great on your shelf, because the Bible looks really nice sitting on your shelf. Oh, the Abrahamic-Faith Bible looks beautiful over there. No, these words are to be personalized. You're supposed to write them down, take them out, take certain verses out, apply them to yourself. Then you will see the result. Then you will get the reward. Then you will have billions of dollars to leave for your children. You won't be begging for food. You won't be going to food banks and saying, please, I've run out of food. You won't be doing that because the Bible also tells you the righteous man never begged for food. But how many of you know how to apply it? So you need to learn to apply that to your lives. You need to learn that you are counted as princes and princes. You are not ordinary people. You are way beyond ordinary people. But you never knew this. Nobody ever told you this, that you're prince and princess. You're the king's children. You're the king's sons and daughters. You must start to apply that to yourself. You need to tell yourself, I'm the king's son. I'm the king's daughter. And I shall receive the treatment of king's daughter and king's son. You need to tell yourself that every day. If you haven't been doing that, shame on you, because you should have been doing that. If you haven't been doing that, you got bad teachers. So you should have been doing that a long time ago and telling God that you are the king's son. You are the king's daughter. And you will receive the treatment of a king's son and king's daughter. When you start to do that, your life's going to start to turn 180 degrees around. And you're going to start to receive your rightful ownership in this world and the rightful blessings in this world. So, don't feel shy. Don't feel shy to say that, oh, I can't be like Bill Gates. I can't have, $80 billion of wealth. Only Bill Gates can have it. Don't feel like that. You have every right to have that wealth, and even more so, because how are you ever going to become a lender to nations? I don't see you being a lender to nations with, $200 in the bank. For you to be a lender to nations, you're going to have millions, hundreds of millions, and billions of dollars in your bank. Then, a smaller nation comes to you, or other nation comes to you and says, we like to have $100 million of loan. You're going to sign that loan. You're going to say, okay, I'm going to sign this loan for you, and there's this much interest on it, because you're allowed to charge interest to the Gentiles to go in. And you say, this is your interest. Okay, I'm going to give you this loan, and this is interest you pay me back. That is what the Torah is saying. Torah is not saying that, be satisfied with the $200 that you have, and that's okay, be poor for the rest of your life. That's okay as well. Torah doesn't say that. There is no such thing as poverty in the Bible. Poverty only exists outside in people's minds who live poor, who want to keep the poor consciousness. You need to remove that from yourself. From today, you need to say the scourge of poverty has nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with me. I am continuously wealthy. You need to tell yourself that, and never ever use the word poor in the personal pronoun. So with that, Rabbi Kefa, I'll hand it to you, and maybe, you learn something that will help you going forth, and your children and your children's children. Absolutely, Lion Princess. Start writing it out and substituting the you with the I and the me and the my. You need to start doing that because you are royalty. Okay? Have a great Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Today, Rabbi, I tell you what, history was made today. I don't know if any of you would affirm that with me, but I guarantee you history was made today. History was made today. I've been for a very long time, and I've never seen this happen. Now, I'll tell you my experience while the conversation with Raphael, and believe didn't know, newsflash, there's other angels as well. But the experience that happened here in my study was that as soon as the prayer was finished, that my power, energy, I was cut off, and I know Hakohen probably saw it. I was talk. My power just went out. Yeah, we're going to all have different experiences, but there's a lot of energy. There is that's the best way. It's power. It's energy. It's a force. And, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I totally believe and I feel the force. I don't know if you do as well. We'll feel it in different ways. But one thing I will say that's very, very important to assist us, family, is that what we have to understand, yes, you understand. Or like they say on YouTube, they love to say overstand and all that other mumbo jumbo. But yes, we get under the Torah and we understand it. We submit. We come up underneath the umbrella of the Torah and we understand it. But then there's another side that's very important that a lot of people miss, is the side that our Kohen is teaching us now, how to feel it. You know what I mean? How to experience it. And you see, this is half the problem. This is half the problem is that we don't know how to experience royalty. You know what I mean? We don't know how to experience what it means to truly see, to be wealthy. You understand what I'm saying? Because we've been conditioned for so long that we cannot be that. So this is why it's very important, like we've always said here, and I always do, is you gotta watch shows of wealthy people. You gotta watch documentaries on wealthy and on royalty. I mean, I love watching our cousins, the oil tycoons over there in the East. I love watching. How many of you watch stories about the sheiks and all the wealth that's over there? Hakohen's been there. He'll tell you. You got to watch these things so that it can become a part of you. These are our cousins, man. These are our cousins over there in the East, in these oil-rich countries. These are our cousins. This is a blessing that's been given to them. It's right out of the Torah. They've been given a blessing as well. And they've been given their wealth. And they've been given. And so you got to begin to watch these things and quit watching Freddy jumping out of a toolbox or whatever, or the zombies chasing you, and begin to focus and begin to, you see, this will help you feel and truly be excited about who you are. You're a royalty, okay, yeah, but what does that mean? You know what I mean? So you got to be able to connect the dots. You got to be able to connect royalty to something that you can really see. You know what I'm saying? And experience, so that you can get excited and really understand it. I would encourage you. Anybody want to? Watch. I don't even know if that's still on anymore. You may be able to find it on YouTube. The stories of the rich and famous. You need to watch that, where they show their big houses and they have multiple homes. They have the summer home. You guys, family, you got to begin to watch that, because that's you if you want to be it. But you got to see it. It's got to become a part of you. You just can't say it. I just circulated monies and purchased this toy for my son, Nakshan, a see and say. You see me? Not only do you have to say it, but you gotta see it. You know what I'm saying? And it helps him say it because he sees it. Oh, he points to this. This thing looks like a horse. So he'll say, horse, horse, horse. He'll go, he'll make the sound. what I'm saying? So it's about seeing and saying. Not just saying it and then you don't see it. Oh, I say I'm royalty. I say I'm a queen. I say I'm a king. But, you don't see yourself as that. How does a king respond? How does a king live? How does a king live? What does royalty do? You understand what I'm saying? So we have to connect those dots. That's very, very important. Otherwise, you're watering down your life and you're watering down your capability. And you see, what we see here in our Torah is a great example of this as well. You see this in our Torah and in this parsha as well. Because how on the Creator's green earth can a people see some marvelous miracles? I mean, you want to talk about amazing miracles, Yael, woman of the tent? I mean, holy oil from heavens coming out of a stone cannot touch what our forefathers, the Hebrews, saw coming out of Egypt. And I think Yael, woman of the tent, you'll totally agree with me, right? Yet at the same time, they saw those things with their eyes. And then how are they going to go from that to doing the boogie woogie and the electric slide with a golden calf? You see what I'm saying? I mean, can anybody can you connect the dots there? Like what happened? You see, because they saw with their eyes, but they could not, they could not, you see the place. But again, that was only watered down because they didn't believe their sayings, the things that were coming out of their mouth was totally opposite and polar opposite and totally in disrepute to what they saw with their own eyes. Being evacuated in royalty style, Lion Princess, from the superpower of the superpowers of that time. And then how do they pay homage to that? They ill remember, and then it's like Johnny come lately. What have you done for me? Lately. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a big time. We have to begin to see this and recognize this so that we learn from the experience of our forefathers, the Hebrews. And we all know what ended up happening to them. You know, Hakohen talked about the generational curses that stem from this because their sin was forgiven but not forgotten. You understand what I'm saying? Thanks to our great litigator, Moses. He stood in the gap for Israel. And just like the Kohen is doing today, he's still standing in the gap for Israel, the sons of Aaron, still standing in the gap, as we all are witness and we all are privy to. And I say that in full humility. I'm totally happy and grateful to be a part of the family. And not only to just be a part, but to know who I am. You know, my goodness. I'm no longer wandering in the wilderness or out there flapping in the wind. I know who I am. And I'm totally happy and I'm totally excited. Because now the dots are being connected. When you understand that you're royalty, and you understand who your forefathers are, and you understand who you're connected to. You know, Hakohen, when he was talking, he mentioned in his lecture, and he mentioned this is not the first time he's mentioned this, but he said, I'm a direct descendant, I'm a relative of Moses. Can you imagine? That's powerful, isn't it? Just in itself. You look at your CV, and you look at your resume, your life resume, this go round, and you say, I'm in direct relations with Moses. You know how much weight that has? You know how much weight that carries? But a lot of people can't see that because just like Hakohen said, they look at the Bible and they read it like a robot. They read it like this Alice in Wonderland story, yet they don't personalize it. And so if you see yourself as royalty, we need to personalize ourselves. Well, you say, well, how do I do that, Rabbi? See, and then you begin to watch royalty. What does royalty do? There's a lot of rich people in this world, Mishpachah. Come outside of your American bubble. Yeah, America has some billionaires, but as you heard from my Kohen, can anybody name the nation, the country that has the most billionaires in it right now? You can ask Uncle Google if you don't know. But our Kohen did mention this in one of his past lectures just recently. Anybody know? Anybody want to name it and claim it? What is the nation with the most billionaires in it today? As of record. To date. There you go. It's India. My goodness. Yet, when people see India on TV, these people, you got a whole bunch of fat cows running around and skinny people, and it looks like everybody's emaciated. I mean, that's what media portrays as India, this poor, rundown shanty of a ghetto type country. You got a taste of that condition. Realize when you see the flip side of it, you say, "Man, my goodness, India is one of the boomingest countries in the world. Actually, it's the country with the most people. China's second. I don't know if you knew that. India's like number one. People. Consider that going forward. So there's a lot of wealth in India. But yet, is that wealth portrayed? I see it a lot because we watch a lot of Indian movies. How many of you watch Indian movies? Man, you see, the way they dress. My wife loved to watch these Indian movies. She loved the way they do their hair and the makeup and all that. I say, you're a queen, my queen. That's you. So I see why you would enjoy watching that, because that's who you are. That's your ancestors. Brook of shit. That's why you want to get all dolled up. Stop your roots, by the way. All their beautiful colors. You see the beautiful colors they have? I mean, beautiful skin, beautiful. There's beautiful women, handsome men as well, right? Brook of shit. Let's not be one-sided here. But you see, so we must begin to not only say, but begin to see yourself as what you say you are. And that's what you're going to be, you see. But we have to connect the dots. Yeah, James is saying, I love how the men dress. I'm looking to get a cup of the clothing. Oh, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. But it's still not wrong if you want to go that route, or you like the 3-piece suit, the 1-piece suit, however you want to roll. But you are royalty and see yourself that way. And see yourself and be it. Don't only say you just royal, but you connect the dots. That's very important. Otherwise, it weakens the act of your life. It weakens the blessing. Again, here we go again. How in the world are the Hebrews doing the boogie woogie? And not all the Hebrews were doing it, by the way, but a lot of them were. They were doing the boogie woogie, and they gave up their valuables to participate in the production and the development of this, particular idol, or this particular god that they, in place of the very same power that took them out of Egypt. I mean, can we try to put this together in puzzles? Find out, like forensic scientists, where the Hebrews went wrong? I can sum it up in one word. And this tactic is still played out today, world over. And it's called the delay tactic. In our Abrahamic-Faith Bible, it's said this way when we look at Exodus 32:1. I read from Abrahamic-Faith Bible, the Hidden Truth of Great Scrolls. Now, when the people saw that Moses delayed, full stop. Can anybody give me a synonym for delay? Synonym for delay. And now when the people saw that Moshe delayed, do you see where we're going here, Mishpah? You see, they saw many things, but here's the problem. You see, they saw many. Okay, what's another word? I'm looking for another T word that we all understand. What that goes with slowed. Things going slow. Now I want you to personalize this, and so late. I want you to personalize this so when your affirmations are not coming in when you think they're supposed to, not coming in when you expected them to. Procrastination, to offer these loiter, late. Well, man, I've been saying these super powerful phrases, and but nothing's happening. Everything's lagging. Seems to be slow. What am I supposed to do? You see, I'll sum it up in this one word right here that equates with delay. You see, because when you begin to say things are delayed, well, what's behind that? Let's dig a little bit deeper. You're focusing on time, aren't you, Mishpah? If something is delayed, you're expecting something to happen at a particular time, aren't you? Oh, it's late. That's time. Slow. That's time. Procrastination. Wasting too much time. Carrying. It's all about time, isn't it? Oh, you have the powers on a time clock. Oh, it's not done in this time, then we need to move to the next one. You see, you can't be that way with the powers of Israel. Can't be that way with the powers of the universes and the Milky Ways and the black holes and this planet. Mubashem. Don't fall for the delay tactic, that time tactic. Don't fall for it. Let me say it to you this way, Mishpachah family. I want you to understand it this way. We have all the time in the world. I want you to say that. We have all the time in the world. Whether it comes quick, whether it comes later, whether in 2 days, whether is that it doesn't matter. You continue to do what you do because you love doing what you do. Not because if I don't get it, then I'm going to throw a hissy fit and I'm going to take my ball and go home and I won't play with you guys anymore. Because it comes late, it's loitering, it's not lagging, it's slow, it's procrastination, and you understand what I'm saying? Don't fall for the delay tactic. Don't fall for it. Because the delay tactic will try to creep in real quick on you. When you're doing your affirmations and things don't seem to be for what you see. You see, you're saying all your affirmations and you're doing this. And like I always say, you got to do it. You got to do it religiously, regardless if you see it in your perceived thought process. Delay should not even be a part of your vocabulary because it's going to hinder you from meeting your marks. We can't delay. You can't. You don't even include that word. Just like you should stay away from that word poor. Oh, I'm broke. No, you're not broke. How you gonna say that you're royalty, but you see yourself broke? That she doesn't stay away from them words. We have to guard ourselves to get this. Now, this will be real subtle. It'll be real subtle. It'll try to creep in on you like affirmations not coming in. You're not seeing any like results within 2 weeks, a month, and you're like, okay, I should. Something's late or I'm missing something somewhere. I would encourage you to hold the line. I forget one of Mel Gibson's movies where I think it's one of he was this Irish dude or something, and they were fighting in this war. I mean, and the enemy is coming on them, but he was telling them hold the line, and the enemy was coming, and there was a lot of them. They were coming to him like ants. I mean, I'm like. What was that Braveheart? Julia, thank you. To double bubble that. I mean, Braveheart, he was like, hold the line. Hold the line. Today, when you start feeling like this, you're just not saying anything. And instead, all the positivity that you say, all of you seeing is all this negativity as you perceive it. I would encourage you to hold the line. Hold the line. Don't fall for it. It didn't come in time. You see, because when the delay tactic creeps in, then it's telling you to shoot for another alternative. And believe me, a lot of people are not here in this forum today is because, they had a great relationship with God. And because things weren't working out the way they thought they were working out, they had to move to another family. This family of Israel here at Forever Israel didn't work. It just didn't. So they wanted to go find greener pasture somewhere else. And I say Baruch Hashem too. And my desire is that they find all the things that they're looking for in this life with the choices that they make. But me, I'm holding the line. I'm here. I'm holding the line. I understand what I've been through with the experiences and everything, and I realize where the bread is buttered. I was watching this movie, Denzel Washington said this. He saw this beautiful woman pass by, and he was like, my goodness, all this jelly and no toast. Well, let me tell you, I got the jelly and the toast, Baruch Hashem. And I'm not trying to go find a different jelly. All that jelly and no toast. Well, I got the jelly and the toast, Mr. Baruch Hashem. I realize that. I can see it and I can say it. And it just keeps getting sweeter, Mishpah. It keeps getting sweeter and sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. Baruch Hashem. I'm definitely enjoying it. I am definitely continually enjoying it. Baruch Hashem. Every single day that I wake up, that I have breath given to me by the Creator of creators, by the powers of Israel, I give thanks in all humility. And I go out and I take royalty and I hold up and I publish the name of the Most High of Israel every single day. And I always keep that in the back of my mind. I always keep that in the back of my mind and in the front of my mind as well. You see, in America, they like to put people in categories and groups and gangs and stuff. You know, you got the Crips and the Bloods and you got the MS-13. Everybody want to be grouped in groups. As human beings and as the study of human nature, you understand that creatures to be grouped. And this is one of the biggest things that the corona has exposed, is that human beings are social creatures. And when they don't get contact, you know, the governor of New York, he said it in his kind of way. But don't get that social contact, they become placed and kind of displaced within themselves. And they don't know how to act. And behind this, and I joke about this, but behind this, there's still, you see a lot of people, you know, especially young children, young teenagers, they take their lives or they act out in erratic kind of ways. Why? It's because we're social creatures and we like to be grouped. How many of you in this room understand that you already grouped it, whether you know it or not? And you like particular groups. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, just don't segregate yourself from everybody else. Look, we are a group. We're a family. We're a family of Jacob. We are a group. Again, but we don't socialize ourselves and condemn everybody else that's not the family of Jacob. No, we welcome. We embrace. We out here giving light to these nations. But you got to understand, you know, you have to have, you have to group yourself with somebody. Then at the same time, when you figure that the group not working out for you, to remove yourself that are going down that you don't particularly like. Now, I'm pretty sure when we look at the Hebrews, you know, Aaron, look, I'm paraphrasing. Look, you guys want this particular power. You want me to create this image. Now, I can imagine some of the Hebrews in the group were like, hold up, wait a minute. You know, I got this gold from the Egyptians, and now you're telling me I got to give it up? Because look, and I'm telling you, this just the, this is the laws of the universes, is that you have to give up to give, and vice versa. To give, you have to give up. That's just a part of it. It's a circulation type thing. Now, to Aaron's surprise, a lot of folks gave up some gold, and he was able to fashion this image of, this image like they wanted it. To Aaron's surprise, I'm pretty sure he was thinking, man, a lot of these people are not going to give up their gold. Yeah, I'm going to make it personal. Let's hit them in their pocket. But they did. This shows you how not only sincere, but how devoted they were to the project to see it through. Same way, we should be devoted to the process to see it through. Decades of reading the same, this is Rabbi, decades of reading the same verses over and over every morning. Baruch Hashem. Is that devotion or what? That's dedication. Right? That's not, because the creator of all things is delayed, let me just, sleep in today. I don't have to do it this morning. I'll just get some extra sleep and then head on into work, get a quick breakfast, and head on. No. That's devotion. That's dedication. That's not the other D word that we read in our Torah there in Exodus chapter 32:1, where it talks about delay. Delay is under the umbrella of the time capsule. And none of us are involved with the time capsule. We have all the time in this world and beyond. You definitely have all the time in the world. Say that to yourself right now. And say it when that delayed tactic creep in. How many of you know that delayed tactic I'm talking about? You understand it because you got to know it. You got to recognize it. More importantly, you got to be able to recognize that delayed tactic when it comes in, because it's going to try to come in on you. I want the family to be prepared, because you see what it did with the Hebrews. They missed out. None of them saw the land flowing with milk and honey, which was promised to them. They missed out in this life. See where I'm going? They missed out. Don't be the ones that miss out. Miss out on the promises that already promised to you. Why? It's because delayed tactic comes in and it diverts you and it takes you down another path so you can make different choices and you can make other commitments. Don't let that be you, Mishpah. Learn from our forefathers. Learn from our history books. The history books were written for us not to tell good bedtime stories, but to learn from it. Learn from the experiences so that we can win and learn, and we can win and learn, and we can win and learn, because we don't win and lose, Mishpah. No such thing as loser. That's out of my vocabulary. Same way with cheap, broke, busted, and disgusted. That's not me. I'm whole. I'm definitely complete. And I'm definitely whole, Mishpah. Continuously, by the way. So we're not going to go down those roads. We're not going to go down. My goodness, I was in the store the other day, and this woman, she comes up, he's in the basket. He loved the basket. And we're in the store, and she said, "Boy, your grandson is such a handsome boy." I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, this is my son." She was like, "God bless you." She was like, "God." She said, "God bless you." I was like, "Yeah, that's right." And there's many more to come. Baruch Hashem. You see, people see what they see. And her thought process, she's like, "Man, there's no way that this young, handsome little boy is this man's son." Oh, yes, he is. Okay. Of a certainty. Indeed. So, and this is what we have to deal with, is that some folks don't have that level of understanding. And I say that in all humility. They're just ignorant to the fact of really how to live a life that's truly abundant. You imagine what people were saying in Sarah's circle. Can you imagine? Sarah, you having a son? Sarah, you pushing 100, Sarah, and your stomach is bigger than a watermelon? Can you imagine what was going on in the crowds? See, you guys got to come out of you guys got to get to the grits and greens of humanity and come out of the robot reading of the Bible. Could you imagine what people were saying in Sarah's circle? And I'm pretty sure they tell Abraham, you live on, baby, you live on. The men around say, "Yeah, Abraham." Soldiers still fight of certain form. But can you imagine the women around Sarah? Sarah, that's totally amazing. Hey, it's got to be from above. How in the hell are you still having children at your age? And all we do is we give thanks. We give thanks. And we keep it moving because we understand that we are a blessed people. We're covenant people. We're covenant people. But a lot of people can't see that. It's because they've been conditioned to think and see and say a totally different way. Our way of life, and I say that way with a capital W, but truly is a way of life. And as you saw today, and those of you listening via Facebook or you're listening via YouTube, You're going to get some of it. The effectiveness. I did ask the question earlier. I don't think the recording was on, but I did ask the question: Will the process as effective for those who listen to the recording as those who are listening, live and who are live, getting it live? Nicole did say it would be effective as well. So this is something you need to mark this recording, save it, put it in your safe so you can pass this on to your children and your children's children. Do you guys understand the ramifications, family, of what just happened today? Historic ramifications. I mean, I've been with Hakohi in a while before. Never. So this is one that you want to get, and you want to put it on a scan disk and store it in your safe. And this is one of those things that's passed on to your children and your children's children. For real. This is serious stuff here. And you will see, if you truly have that feeling, that belief that it'll happen, then it will happen. It will happen. Believe me, it will. For certainty, it will happen. And it will happen continuously. It will happen. But you just have to feel it. You got to believe in it. And this is why I want you all to look at individuals and watch movies of folks that just have money running. They flushing money down the toilet. They have so much money. That you can begin to see it. And you can begin to really feel it. Like, yeah, I saw that. He had 15 homes all over the world, flying on personal jets. Hey, listen, you think Creflo's the only one that can fly on a personal jet? And believe me, that's in my affirmations for me and my family. We're not going to be flying coach. We're not going to be flying first class. We're flying in our own jet. We're going to fly on jets to get to where we want to go. Believe me, I'm telling you, that's where... This is where you think royalty flies on in first class? Who was that? You affirm that you're royalty, right, Lion Princess? Lion Princess, can you tell me, does royalty fly in first class? Does royalty fly in coach when they take airfare? How does royalty fly, Lion Princess? Or anybody else for that matter? Royalty flies in their own plane. They have their own jet, and they get to and fro. Billionaires fly on their own jet. Yeah, private jet, absolutely. How many of you want to fly a private jet? I'm going to tell you what, right now, it's a lot easier. I'm already doing my homework. It's a lot easier. Believe me, there's no waiting in long queues to get on a private jet to get where you want to go, Ms. Fahal. You don't have to wait on Southwest to get your best seat. That's not how I'm rolling. I don't roll that way. It's private jet, baby. Come on, man. Why? And the question is, why not? You're royalty. You're the children of Israel. Just for Creflo and his like? No way. See me? Private jet. And you don't even have to own the jet. You could just sign up for a subscription to a service. Well, yeah, you just fly these private jets. They're already doing it on the West Coast. It's real easy. It's a lot easier. I love it. I love it. I love my life. That's my life. But this is, you got to begin to put yourself where you want to be. Not just say you want to be something. And you put yourself where, let's just say, you got to put some fat behind it. You got to have some, okay, this is where I want to be. This is how they live. I have footage. I have a mental picture of how they live. I can visualize how to live because I'm seeing how they live. You're experiencing it. It becomes a feeling for you. Then you can feel it. Then it really becomes real. And that's where faith is. When it becomes real and you can feel it, you get excited. You're totally happy. And you're totally at peace with it. Not worrying. You see, You put all your energy on things that are for your benefit, and not worrying and focusing on things that is of irrelevance, like the bill collector. You know, this season that we're in right now here in North America, I don't know if they do this in the UK or even in France, but here I'm seeing people around me are very, very happy at this time. You want to know why? Because the majority of people have gotten gigantic tax returns. Anybody know what I'm talking about? These people that are around me. And these are people that are not used to having money. But Uncle Sam has given them gigantic tax returns. I got these one particular couple that I know of. They just got a tax return of $10,000. A tax return of $10,000. That's more money than they've seen in a very, very long time. And they anticipate getting this every year from Uncle Sam. Why? It's because they have outrageous number of children, blah, blah, blah. But my whole point is, hey, I'm happy for them. They got $10,000. And I sit back and I watch what they do with that $10,000 every single year. Because they get it every year. How many of you know people like this? But you see them, they're so happy and they're so excited, and they go out and they circulate that money and things that they want. And they get them. And you look at their face and they're so happy. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. But it only lasts for a short time, because then all the money is circulated out, and they bought all these flat screen TVs and computers and all these electronic devices, and they're totally happy. And then, 2 or 3 months later, they're asking you for a loan. And it's the same cycle over and over. But I look at the expression on these people right now, they're totally happy. And I'm like, the way you are right now, you can be that way the whole year. Not just when income tax comes in, but they can't see the forest for the trees. They can't see all the abundance that they have at their fingertips. Because yes, they have their palm out, but it's just only to receive from what Uncle Sam will give them. And then after that, they're very happy going back to their status of being broke. And they tell you, I'm broke. They'll tell you, I'm poor. And I'm like, no, don't say that. But that's what they know. And they'll sit there. You see, we have to be students of human nature. It's very important that we understand this, Mishpah. And I say this in all humility. We're above them. But you still have to understand what's below you. You get what I mean? See, this is all a part about you shining your light. What if I just sit there and didn't say anything to them? Oh, yeah, and just let them keep telling themselves that they're poor, that they're poor, that they're poor, that they're poor, that they're broke, that they can't pay this bill, that they can't pay this bill. Somebody has to flip the script on them and tell them, no, you can pay your bills. Matter of fact, why don't you take some of that $10,000 and let that money work for you and invest it? See, they never been told these things. So in all humility, I say this, that they're ignorant to that fact because they've never been told. So I say all this to say this as we get back to our story and our history, the history of the Hebrews. You see, Moses goes away for a minute. Their focal point was Moses. Everything Moses said, okay, they had some complainers in the camp, but for the most part, they did it, they followed it. But when Moses was gone, it's like they just fell back into what they was used to. Do you get what I'm saying? So, can you really blame the Hebrews? Because their Adonai, their Elohim, was gone. Because they were always looking at an individual. Yes, Aaron was there, but they didn't see Aaron like they saw Moses. Do you get what I'm saying? They didn't have Aaron. They didn't have, and I'll tell you this, and this is so very true. I don't know. This happens every time Hakohen takes travels. He go and travels. And he'll tell you he's going out and travels. I sit there and watch this. When Hakohen is in travels, and maybe he doesn't make a power talk session or two, or just a recording, that the numbers here will drop amongst the family. Like a lot of folks don't turn up. Anybody ever notice that? When Hakohen is in travels, or it's just me, because I'm a student of human nature. I study these things. I may not all the time come out and say this, but I sit here and I watch these things. And I'm saying in the back of my mind, Oh, when the cat's away, the mice will play. I said it to myself, Eddie. But I sit there and I say these things, and I'm like, as a student of human nature. And the same, so I understand when the Hebrews were without their Moses, their Elohim, they saw Moses as the Elohim. They saw Moses as a leader. Moses was putting down the law, right? And they would follow it to an extent. Yeah, you had your complainers. We always going to have our complainers. My goodness, if you're here in North America, you see that. With the new leadership that we have, aren't there people complaining? I think half the country is complaining. So be it. But that doesn't change the fact that we have a new leader, and his name is President Biden, and he is the president. And as much as they want to read their Bibles like robots, they should understand that their Bibles say pray for your leaders, not to protest and condemn them. You see what I'm saying? And so this is where we are. Eddie says, especially when Moses had a shining face. Oh, indeed. And I thought to myself in my meditation, I was like, this is probably one of the key factors to keep the people in check. Let them know who's running the show. Because we're told in the Abrahamic-Faith Bible that Moses, he would only lift his veil when he was teaching the people. When it came time to teach him, he would lift his veil so they could see his face. Oh, I bet you he got a lot of attention then, huh? Moses is over there glowing. This brown man is over there, his face is glowing. Like, what the heck is going on here? I better pay attention to this man. You know what I mean? So we have to look at these things and say, okay, we have to gird ourselves up and understand with the Kohen absent, present, doesn't matter. You should be steadfast in whatever you do. You should be motivated and dedicated to see your affirmations through, regardless of what happens in anybody's absence, regardless if there's a delay. It doesn't matter. That's not changing the fact. You see, the Hebrews weren't firmed up. See, a lot of them were just going rote through the motions. Okay, we're going to do this because Moses said do it. But if something nice and shiny comes along, then we'll go with another opportunity. If opportunity raises its hand, we're going to take advantage. When they didn't understand that they were at opportunity's door and couldn't realize it, they were in opportunity. They were the most opportunistic people on the face of this earth. When you can have a power that can go in and take out the superpower, the perceived superpower of that time, and not only take out a people, but take them out with wealth and abundance. All of them coming out looking like Mr. T. You got to be kidding me. Who would ever try to go against that? But yet these people did. And we have to continue to ask ourselves the question, well, why? What's the motivation? See and say. Maybe a lot of them couldn't see themselves in a land flowing with milk and honey. They couldn't perceive anything like that. Because they've always been told in Egypt, you're nothing. You're not going to be nothing. You make awesome bricks, and that's all you're going to be. But yet they were in a country, one of the wealthiest countries, if not the wealthiest country at that time. They saw wealth, but they just didn't see it around it. They saw it in other people. So just like these people getting these income tax checks, I mean, getting thousands and thousands of dollars. Any of you have friends, family members, and loved ones that's getting $9,000, $10,000 income tax, and they told you, look, I got all this money from the government. Anybody besides me? I'm telling you, it's happening here in North America. I don't know if it does like that in Eddie's, I don't know if it's like that, Oliver, in France, or if it's like that in the UK. But these people here in America are getting money. And you see, these people are what they consider poor people. So the government feels like they got to lift them up. So they infuse in these people and they empower these people with a whole bunch of money that they never saw before in their life. A whole bunch of zeros, as they perceive. Because when you go from 0 zeros to, 3 and 4 zeros behind it, you're like, wow. 5 and 6 zeros, you're like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of money. What am I going to do with it? They're going to get very happy. And they're totally happy. I'm seeing them happy. And they have no worries because they have money in their pocket. And they can go out and spend it. And they put it out in the economy. And I'm like, yeah, Puka Sham. They put it out in the economy. But that's what's happening right now in North America. So I get it. And then all of a sudden when the money dries up, because they're going to go out and they're going to circulate that money. That's one thing. And we got a big stimulus package coming. There's one thing the government understands. If you put this money out to these people, they're going to circulate it and put it right back into the economy. And everybody is on pins and needles, even the market, the market's on pins and needles anticipating. And like, my goodness, is anticipating them, putting out the stimulus. So that they can see this money getting in and then recirculate this money right into the economy. So that the Target stock can go up, so that the Walmart stock can go up. And so all these stocks can begin to take off again. Because, where these people going to go? They're going to go right to these, like I'm going to talk about, your favorite stores, your favorite grocery store, your favorite, appliance store, and they're going to buy all these things. They're going to go out and circulate that money's right into the economy. Okay. In the Hebrews' defense, look, there were no shopping malls back then that they could go and just circulate all that gold. Because you understand, let me paint a picture for you. The Hebrews were walking around with a whole lot of money. Each and every individual Hebrew had money. They had wealth. They had money, Mishpah. Do you all understand that? These people were wandering in the desert with money. They had riches. They came out of Egypt, not busted and disgusted, but they came out, the Prince of Bel-Air. You all understand that? The Princess of Bel-Air. They came out with wealth. They didn't leave. They didn't come out empty-handed now. So, okay, what are they going to do with this stuff? Okay, there was no malls to go to. They didn't have a Amazon. They didn't have a Taobao for my wife. She loved Taobao. They didn't have a Taobao. They didn't have an Amazon to go to. So what are they doing? They're holding this. They're holding this. And they're waiting for an opportunity. Then opportunity came. When Aaron said, okay, if you guys want this thing, you guys. Okay, I'm back. So opportunity came. And so Aaron and tell him, okay, give me all your gold. You're going to have to participate. You're going to have anything in this life that's worth you having. Understand this. You got to study human nature here. You're going to have to participate. You're going to have to have some kind of form of putting up in the ante, putting something into the pot. That's humanity. So whatever group you want to roll with, because I mean, there's all kind of groups out there. This group, that group, however you group yourself, you're going to have to participate. And that's just what happened. They start taking off the earrings and all that they got, and and Aaron did the necessaries. He did what the people wanted them to do. And the people turned up and they showed up. You see? They turned up and they showed up. And that's what it was. And so now you have this animated cow that they're all dancing with. They're having a good old time with. Because Moses had already been forgotten. After everything, Moses was forgotten already. That's what happens, Mishpah. We can learn so many great lessons. Fathers, the Hebrews left us a lot of lessons. A lot of lessons to learn. But are we learning the lesson? Well, if we sit here and read a robot, then we're not learning anything. And this is why the Scripture is so important. And Hakohim, you stick with him, I'm telling you. You just got to stay. You got to hang in there. You got to hold the line. Family. First of all, you have to recognize that he is a Kohen. And once you do that, you just hold the line. You understand what happened when our forefathers didn't stay with the Kohan. There's a lot of trouble. when there were uprisings, all this history in our history rich. We have so much that we can learn from within our history. We have a history of folks that wanted to go against Aaron and his sons. We saw what happened there, right? We have that time and time again. A history of people that just want to lead the way and not delay and wait on the Most High to do it. We see what happens there. We have so many lessons that we can learn from instead of going down the same old rabbit hole. We don't have to do that anymore. But I understand, and it has to be in dribs and drabs, Mr. Hall, because if Hakohen would have came with the teaching to me, 5 years ago, I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't handle it. It has to be given in stages and in steps. The development and the evolution and the growth of Israel is going to have to be that way, family. We got to get it in dribs and drabs and in steps and steps and steps. And we continue to accelerate up the ramp. It's got to be in steps. That's the way it has to be. Because a lot of us can't handle too much. Can't handle much too soon. I see that with human nature. They cannot handle it. How many of you heard stories of people who became millionaires overnight, hit the lottery, became millionaires, and then you hear stories like a year later they broke, and they're back in that same predicament, and they lost all that money. The money's gone. Anybody heard stories like that? You can find them all over the place. Of people that come into wealth, come into prosperity, but they don't know how to handle it because money don't come with instructions. And so they just out there, making unwise decisions. But when you gain that wealth over time and you go through the experiences over those periods of your life to where you learn the lessons and you learn the experiences and then you attain that wealth, you hang on to it. People down here in Texas call that old money. They call that old money. These are people who have been through, starting from nothing and made something. That's old money. And they know how to hang on to it. And they appreciate it more. And then they let that money make them more money and more wealth. And they leave a legacy. And that's what all of you in this room are continuously and definitely going to do. You're going to leave a legacy for your children and your children's children. We're Israel. That's what we do. We've already been left a legacy. Baruch Hashem. We just got to claim it. We got to see it and say it. And that's what it is. And don't be sidetracked, don't be hoodwinked and bamboozled, and don't fall for the stumbling block of the time delay, or what we call the delay tactic. But I see it affecting those that are, quote unquote, put themselves under the umbrella of the Torah. Because listen, you go to YouTube and you listen to these so-called Hebrew camps. What are they talking about? They're talking about going back to the land in Israel. They're not talking about, growing and producing lands where they are right now. Their concern is Israel. That should be the least of your concern. Like I said, that you already own that land. What are you worried about? How about make lands where you are? How about produce lands and real estate wherever you are and expand? Don't worry about the land back in Israel. That's already dealt with, real estate owner. How about expand that? How about take that light and illuminate it to the four corners of this earth? That's one of the beauties of the exile, Mr. Hall. See yourself as a piece of real estate. What did the Most High do with you? What did he do with the family? He took us, Eddie's, he took us, Oliver, he took us, Lion Princess, and Lion King, and he dispersed us. Isn't that beautiful? Now that's a real estate investor for sure. And he dispersed us so that we can do what? So that we can devour this whole earth. Another D word, as we have dominion over this whole earth. Isn't that beautiful? And we blended in with all these nations. And like I'm going to tell you, I mean, you look at Nachshon, you look at my son, and I'm telling you, you don't know what, I mean, he looks like this little white little baby boy, but he's black and he's got this curly hair and he's a Hebrew, but we've been intermingled with all these nationalities. So you get in these groups on YouTube that tell you, you're not a Hebrew because you're not white. That's, that's totally wrong. Or you're not black enough. That's just misunderstood and misteaching. Israel has been we've been mixed in with all these nations. How are we going to tell Israel? By our way of life. That's how you're going to know who Israel is, by the way we live our life. Israel that has woken up. Israel that still sleep. Majority of Israel that still sleep will probably stay in slumber. They will probably stay asleep. And I say in all humility, give thanks and show gratitude that you've been called out and you've been woken. You have awoken, Israel. Because I guarantee you, I know all of you in this room, you listening via PayPal. You listen via Facebook or YouTube. You understand that they're Israel, but they don't want to wake up, and they're totally happy with where they are, and so you leave them alone. You leave them alone. I got siblings. I got to leave them alone. I had a sibling. He used to come here to this forum, and he's no longer here anymore. He another way, and what I got to do? I got to leave him to it. And I see that in many areas because that Hebrew blood is there, but it's thin. It's thin. It's like watered down. You know what I mean? To where he may. I doubt he comes back. And that's his choice. He at one time was at the feet of the Kohen, under the umbrella of the Kohen, but that wasn't for him. I mean, I have a family member, brother. He just said, no, this wasn't for him, and I respect that. Is he a lesser brother to me today? No, he's not. I love him even more, actually, because I'm light. I'm not going to shun my brother just because he doesn't, the way is not for him. The way is not for him. He chose not that way. He chose to go a different way. He tried it for a minute, and it wasn't for him. Kudos to him. Because like I said many times, and I'll tell you again, this way is not for everybody. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you have family members, friends, and loved ones is the same. So what do? We love them through it. We're light. We're not going to go in the closet, and we're not going to turn away when we see them going in a dark alley because they done, they chose another route. They chose another avenue. They chose another journey. They didn't want to go down this journey. But understand, in this life, you will go through many journeys in this life. You'll go through many journeys. You'll take many roads. I'm reading this book to Nachshon about this train. He loved this train. And this train, all the train is talking all about this train's journeys. How he travels in the wilderness. He travels at night. He travels up hills. He travels down. He travels in cities. He travels in town. But the whole book is about the journey of life and the different journeys and the different decisions and the different train tracks, different roads and directions that you can take in this life. And there are many. But this way is not for everybody. And some fall by the way to the delay tactic, the time factor. Serve this God of Israel, but it's taking too much of my time and I'm not seeing any results. So I want to move. Well, so be it. I didn't come to the family, based upon time. How long it took me to get here? You know what I mean? So it's not based on time. I'm just so glad that I'm here. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, if things don't turn around in my life within this amount of time, then I'm going to pack my bags and go elsewhere. No, I'm home. There is nowhere else to go. Where do you go away from home? It reminds me of the prodigal son story that we get in the New Testament, the parable of the prodigal son. Where do you go? Home. Everything might look nice and shiny. The resources run out, and then where do you end up? You end up back home. Home is home. For me, and I'm at home. Israel is home. I'm Hebrew. I am most definitely a Hebrew. You know what I mean? And it's home. You see, so where do I go from here? You see? Well, where do I go, Michelle? I'm not going anywhere. And I would encourage you all, family members, to think the same. Don't fall for these stumbling blocks because they're out there, believe me. Especially as you begin to deal with your inner self and subconscious and you begin to get within self. Oh, my goodness. Your mind is going to throw you for many different wonders. Oh, man, you're going to have all kind of excuses you from being successful. And it's not going to be from other people. And you can't sit there and condemn the devil because it has nothing to do with the devil. The devil's in your details. What you're doing and what you're not doing. And what you desire not to do. Oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And you come up with a whatever excuse. And one of the biggest is delay. This delay tactic kept a lot of Hebrews out of the land flowing with milk and honey. And it put a generational curse on the Hebrews that a lot of people don't know how to deal with. But Akoi does. You've been given instruction on how to deal with the generational curse in your family. But yet a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. I was reading some of the commentary on how bad. It was like, well, how do we deal with the generational curse? And there was crickets. Nobody gave an answer because they don't know how to deal with it. They haven't been equipped. Then, you see, these rabbis are not the Kohanim. So they give guidance when they give guidance, and the majority of it is misguided or it's watered down at best to where there's no effectiveness to it. And I get it. Human beings want results. We're in this fast food environment to where you want things through a drive-through window. And that's just, that's just, don't get those things through the drive-through window. You upset. And you're throwing a temper tantrum. Or you want that particular item you ordered to show up at the Amazon box, in the Amazon box at this particular time. And when it doesn't, you're throwing a temper tantrum. What is that? We just had one of the biggest snowstorms in the history of San Antonio. And people are complaining. Oh, my Amazon box didn't arrive when it was supposed to. I'm going to get my refund back, and I'm going to keep the item when it does come. I'm like, what the hell wrong with these people? They understand. You see, these are people who are caught up on this time factor. Make time irrelevant. And I'll say it again in closing. You have all the time in this world. You most definitely have all the time in this world. Don't utilize time as your enemy. It's your ally. Because it's meaningless to you. You get it? But don't use that as your enemy, because then it'll eat you up. It'll eat you up, and before you know it, you're not here anymore. Or you quit affirming. Or you're giving up on your wants. Never give up on your wants. Because then you don't meet your mark. Never give up on what you want. Regardless who's here and who's not here. Regardless who believes in you, who doesn't believe in you. The question is, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe it for yourself? And a lot of the Hebrews, I would have to surmise that a lot of the Hebrews coming out of Egypt didn't believe they would see a land flowing with milk and honey. They didn't believe it. They were just along for the ride. And persuaded by the people that was among them. But again, this is why the belief. This is where you just have to have that feeling. I don't care if anybody else feels it. You have to feel it. You have to feel it, Mishpahal. And that's what's important. What do you feel about yourself right now? Do you feel royalty? Do you feel yourself as wealth? Do you feel yourself as health? Do you feel yourself as abundance? Do you feel yourself as a child of the covenants? Do you really feel it? You gotta feel it. Not just what you say. You gotta feel it. I love that part in the Charleston Heston 10 Commandments. When the people were coming out of Egypt, I tell you, you got all these people. They just coming out and they all were so happy. And they coming out with things. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. coming out in droves, and they're all so happy. They were freed. Amazing. And life indeed amazing. We're free, Mishpah. We're free to be whatever we want to be. Free to want whatever we want. We can want. But don't let your freedom be taken away from you. How can your freedom be taken away from you? By your beliefs. When you stop feeling, that's how it can be taken away. By the non-believer. As the bishop. I'm not even going to give him no fuel. But non-belief. Stay on the positive side of force. And force will raise you up. Force meaning the powers of Israel. The powers of this universe. The powers of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Invoke these powers. Just like how Kohen called upon, Gabriel. Michael. See, these are archangels. And you can call upon them. Raphael. You can call upon them. And believe me. Believe you me. They are effective. And you all, just like I will, we will be witness to the very fact. You know why? Because I believe it. I feel it. I know it's real. And in closing, I'll say this in this parsha. God, the powers of Israel told Moses, he said, Moses, I'm gonna send an escort with you. I'm paraphrasing. He said, I'm gonna send an escort with you to escort you and the children of Israel as you're wandering. And Moses said, no, I don't want an angel. Don't want an angel. See, Moses said, I want you to do it. I want you to oversee us. You took us out. I want you to see us through. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. That's amazing, isn't it? That's good stuff. But Moses didn't want to settle for an archangel. Don't just send an angel. No. He said, I want you to see us through. See this whole process through. You got us out, take us in. Baruch Hashem. Isn't that beautiful? What a great leader. I'm telling you. They talk about these generals, Patton, and all this, that, the other. All these great leaders in the world. None of them can touch Moses. None of them can touch Moshe. Great leader. Great litigator. What is a litigator? He's the go-between. I tell you, he's a great litigator. Stood in the gap for Israel, for the Hebrews, time and time again. And still today we see this. What Kohen did today was one of the greatest things I've ever seen him do. Because I see him standing in the, not only for Israel, but if anybody on YouTube, this will work for them too. Standing in the gap. Why? Because he understands we're a light to the whole world. Not a segregated group. It's open to all, just like our forefather Abraham had his doors open to all. Isn't that beautiful? So the lesson I learned from this parsha, what I really desire to get out is that, be careful and be mindful of the delay tactic, which behind the sheets is nothing but the time, but Father Time. Father Time, trying to tell you cannot do something or you cannot want something because your time ran out. Your time never runs out. Hadassah Grace, your time never runs out. Your time is continuous. It don't run out. No time limit. Enjoy the going through the process and the procedure and the experience of meeting your marks. That's where the power really lies. Because once you do it one time, it's rinse and repeat. It's rinse and repeat, Mishpah. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up the lecture while Nachshon comes in all his glory. Shabbat Shalom, son. He said, well, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. So I'll wrap this up. And I say Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you, Mishpachah. Have a wonderful Shabbat. You want to say something now, Sean? Huh? Sean's here on my lap now in all his glory. What do you want to say? Now Sean told y'all nine. He says no. It means he said don't give up on your affirmations, right, Sean? Nine. Okay, you heard it from Sean himself. He said don't give up. He said no. Don't you give up on your affirmations. Don't you give up on your wants. Sean says no. Nine. Sean? Nine. Okay, Shabbat Shalom to you all, Mishpah. Have a wonderful Shabbat.
Atuda, Rabbi, for that, Rabbi Kefa. Okay, Rabbi Kefa, I have the recording, so no need to send it to me. I've already sent it to some people. The cut that I had made from the earlier invocation of the angel. So with that, I'm gonna go and but I will give you a little testimony of the power of the Kohen's house. You know, I had a Christian family that was arrested by the police. Two Christian families had a fight with each other because one Christian family ran away with the other Christian family's daughter. Of course, you know, this is a big crime over here. You can't run away with somebody's daughter. It's a kill offense. You know, people will kill you for that. Anyway, this stupid little idiot, you know, he ran away with somebody else's daughter. And, of course, after that, that family came. They beat up this man's father. And of course, they went and did a court wedding. And the girl's family said, we're going to kill both of them. And then they came. One day, they tricked the father to come to their house, the boy's father. And they beat him up black and blue. And then they arrested him in the police with a false claim that he tried to rape or tried to molest their wife. You know, they kind of made up flimsical evidence. And police over here, they just take the money and they'll make any case that you tell them. So they took him to the prison. There was, to the jail. There was no case yet filed. A person could be in jail over here with no case, and they could keep him indefinitely. So he was in there, and they fed the police some money. You know, the sub-inspector over here, the local sub-inspector. So they fed him some money, and they continued to feed him money to make a false case. And so he did. He made a false case. So when the boy's family went to see their dad, the father, and they wanted to, you know, because he had injuries, you know, he was beaten up, and they wanted to take him to the hospital or find out he's eaten. The police said, get lost. You're not supposed to be here. They wouldn't even let them see him. That's the power of the police over here. When they do their thing, nobody can come and question them. So they came to our house and they said, you know, this happened. And my wife came to me and said that, do you think we should do something? I said, yeah. I said, although I don't want to get involved in this because I really don't approve somebody taking somebody else's daughter and running away with her. I definitely don't approve of it. However, now that the idiot has done this, I said, you know, you got to still go and find out if the father is okay, and the police won't let any of these people near them because they're all Muslims. You know, it's a Muslim land. So they won't let them near them, but, you know, I have influence, you know, amongst many of the Muslim brothers. So I said, okay, we'll work something out and we'll get to the man and we'll find out, you know, what's going on. So we got a person that is a friend of ours, and we sent him in, and my goodness, when he went in, police was like, yes, sir, you know, who do you want to see? And he's like, I want to see that man. I said, yeah, sure, you can see him. And they took him straight in, and they let him see the man. You know, he was kind of resting from his injuries. The police didn't beat him up, at least. And they said, well, you know, what do you want to do with him? And he said, you know, what is the charges? He said, there's no charges. No charges have been filed. He said, okay. And so, you know, that is the power of the Kohen's home, by the way. I was able to send a man straight into the police cell and get a report out for this man, and listen to this, I can free this man as well with one phone call. But I said, you know what, I don't approve of this. I don't like what his son did, because, you know, here taking somebody's daughter is very disrespectful, and I would not approve of it. So I said, let the both parties come together and make a reconciliation, and maybe our middleman, by the way, who's a Muslim, I said he can sit in and he can help them reconcile. And if they reconcile, great, and we've done our job. We mediated the situation, and we're happy with that. That's as far as we go. I said I will not permit my family to get involved in somebody else's respect and dignity and get involved with that, because I definitely don't approve of this Romeo-Juliet affair that happened over here, because there are legal ways to do this, where the girl could have spoken to their family and made this right by doing it the proper way. But running away from home and marrying somebody, it over here they see it as a shame process, and they see it as honor thing, and they would kill their daughter for that, and they'll kill the boy as well. So I said, you know what, this is an honor thing. Over here they'll kill somebody for that. So I said, we need to tread very carefully, but we have the authority and the power, so we must be very careful how we utilize that power. Anyway, so what we did do is we helped to mitigate the fight, and in the end, the family, the opposite family, said as long as the boy's father, and we can make reconciliation, and they offered some certain conditions, and we left it at that after that. But our man did a great job. I said, worst comes to worst, I said all I got to do is phone my military colonel and say we need some assistance over here, and I said he'll sort out any police inspector or even superintendent of police, so there's no problem. So my point is this, that in everything in life, one thing kept going in my head: justice you will pursue. We always have to pursue justice. Torah always commands us to pursue justice, not injustice, and I can't be on the side of unjust people. So therefore I reminded my wife that I as a Kohen have to pursue justice. I can't I can't do things which are against what my instructions tell me, but what I can do is allow these people to reconciliate between themselves, and that's as far as we go. We make sure the man is safe, he's okay, he can get a medical done, and then after that it's a process of reconciliation they have to go through. And I said, you and me, we're definitely going to step foot in that space after that, because we have a separate road to follow, and that's where we left it. So Baruch Shem Yahweh, we got favor there, and we were able to at least resolve some differences. But I don't want to go any further than that, because as that I'm connected in the military left, right, and center. So I don't want to call up my military friends and say that we need your assistance, because they don't need to be bothered for little things like this. They're going to say, what the heck you getting yourself into with these, this boy running away with this girl? So it'll be a little bit of embarrassment. So I would say, no, you know what, let's just leave it at that. So everywhere, wherever you go, justice you will pursue. That is our motto, and indeed we shall do that. So keep up the good work. Have a great Shabbat. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Shalom to you. If you wish to support our work, you can go to www.forever-israel.com or www.abrahamic-faith.info, and there is a donate now icon for PayPal, and you can send in a donation of your choice from that particular address. You can also use Cash App, and you can use PayPal directly, and you can send a donation to Shimon63, SHIMOUN63 at yahoo.com, or you can send a donation to $SIMALT with the Cash App. We greatly appreciate your support in this endeavor for us to spread the truth and the correct way for people to better their lives and to serve the God of Israel in their lives. Thank you, and may you be blessed forever. Amen. Amen.